This is a time where, in a sense, we are being pushed up into a hard place. You're being pressed, right? You're being pressed down. And this is a beautiful chance for something to flourish in your life. You don't want to miss this, because here's the very next thing. Paul knew what it meant to be pushed up against a rock or forced into a tight place. Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, we didn't think we were going to make it. We'd been sent to death row. We thought it was all over for us. As it turned out, it was the best thing that could have happened. One of the best things that can happen to you is for you to be forced or pushed up against a hard place, for you to be pressed, right? Romans 5:4 says, endurance produces character. Now listen, when things are well, our hearts are tested. Proverbs 27 says the purity of the human heart is tested by giving them a little fame. And when things are hard, our character is tested. The tree's life is fully relies on its root system, where it drinks from. Now get this. The only thing that actually makes those roots of the tree go deeper and become stronger, two things. One is drought and one is storms, right? If everything were good all the time for the spruce tree, it wouldn't need a root system, right? But because storms come, wind comes and threatens to blow that tree over. And the second thing is, what makes trees' roots go deeper is a drought. When there's not water right there available on the surface, its roots are forced to go down. That wind that came through, that blizzard that came through, that drought that happened this summer or last summer was actually the best thing for me, because it forced me to put everything back on the table, to completely reprioritize my life. It forced me to dig deeper. It forced my roots to go down. It forced me to trust God. God raised Jesus from the dead. And here's the line. It says this, not a bad idea. He's saying we're forced to trust God. Not a bad idea, since he's the God who raises the dead. And he did it again, rescued us from certain doom, and he'll do it again in you, right? Listen to this. Rescuing us as many times as we need rescuing, if you let him, right? So bringing this into today's terms, maybe your business is pushed up against a wall, your character is pushed up against a wall, maybe your marriage. God wants to rescue you. Romans 8 says, with the arrival of Jesus, the Messiah, that fateful dilemma is resolved. Those who enter into Christ being here for us no longer have to live under a continuous low-lying black cloud. A new power is in operation in your life. He decided from the outset to shape the lives of those who love him along the same lines as the life of his son. Listen, the son stands first in the line of humanity he restored. We see the original and intended shape of our lives there in him. What's that saying? Jesus was the very first one to be restored to original glory. And we see that in him. And it's saying that Jesus is the only one that can restore you to original glory. You and your prayers are part of the rescue operation. Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or imagine, according to the power that works or resides in us. That word, according, literally means to measure out or to distribute. According, or as we distribute the power that God has deposited in us. Prayer causes things to happen that wouldn't happen unless you prayed. You get to play a part. The God, when you're pushed up against a rock, we're forced to push into God if you choose it. And the God who raised Jesus from the dead wants to raise everything in your life from the dead. And he wants to bring life and life to the full. A whole, healed, put together person. The cross heals everything. And that God says, according to the power that you get to measure out. God's invitation to you and me is, do you want to play a part?